This is the city of Almere, a very new city on the former seabed of the IJsselmeer, Lake IJssel. The first 50 people came to live here as recently as 1976, so everything you see in this city is less than 40 years old. All the buildings, all the trees, all the infrastructure, everything. And because everything could be planned from a blank canvas, Almere likes to think it's very different from other Dutch cities. But is it? Every Dutch city has new neighborhoods, so in that respect Almere is not so different. It only lacks a historic heart. The infrastructure was originally set up in 3 completely separate grids. One for motor traffic, with freeway-like streets that cross the other grids as little as possible, and where it is not allowed to walk or cycle. One for bus transit, with very wide lanes for buses only. It makes the buses go really fast. Too fast perhaps, because there are some level crossings where people cycling and walking have to wait for the bus. A third grid is for cycling and walking only. On convenient paths away from motor traffic and buses, cycling is relaxed and safe. All major crossings are in underpasses, which makes cycling safe for very young children and people of a high age. Only in streets where people actually live, the different forms of transport share the space in the original woon-erf concept. Over the years, Almere got other types of infrastructure too. There are now also standard Dutch roundabouts with priority for cycling, and there are of course many bridges too. Like all Dutch cities, the city centre of Almere is car-free. And there are bicycle parking facilities for the shoppers. At the many railway stations, there are enough racks to park your bicycle, so you can combine different modes in one journey. Almere grew most in the 1980s and 90s. Not the best era for great architecture. Many of the buildings are a bit grim. Some of the residential areas have already been completely renovated and partly rebuilt. Separating the transport grids has one big disadvantage. It does not improve the feeling of social safety, especially when cycle paths run at the back of the homes. Almere also consists of many different residential areas that are separated by vast areas of emptiness. Not only are these areas unfriendly in the dark, and there's always a lot of headwind, this also increases the journey distances. This is a sports facility, and the parking lot makes clear how most people arrived here. It does not have to be like that. When sports fields are more centrally located, people do go there by bicycle. To increase the feeling of social safety, the most recent residential areas were built in a different way. The strict separation on grid level was abandoned and streets were built in a more traditional Dutch style. More closed building blocks with lanes for motor traffic and cycling side by side. The newest residential areas resemble the centre of Amsterdam, and the same parking problems were even copied. The city also built some cycle streets, where cars are supposed to be guests. But I was not impressed by how this latest infrastructure was actually built. I wasn't the only one. When you consider the whole city is not even 40 years old, some of the surfaces looked really tired. Many of the tunnels are dirty and probably scary at night for quite a few people. And if you look at these tunnels and the paths a bit closer, they are a lot narrower than most paths are in the rest of the Netherlands. Almere also has a problem with the number of mopeds, to a point that they are banned from certain paths. But the sign that struck me most was in the city centre. Where a cycle path crosses a busy shopping street, cyclists are requested to dismount. That is never appropriate, because pedestrians and people cycling are perfectly capable of negotiating the right of way, even here. But in my opinion, it is unacceptable for a city that wants to be best cycling city of the Netherlands. With all the good things Almere has to offer, that makes many people cycle, like this widened path with a new surface, I think there are too many issues to award this city the title. But luckily for Almere, I am not in the jury.